Murphy and the Large Whale Pod. Once upon a time, there was a young whale called Murphy. Murphy grew up in a large whale pod and was very happy throughout his childhood. He swam and played with his brothers, sisters, and cousins and friends all day and slept drifting by his mother's side all night. Among all his friends in the pod, one whale was very special to him, a female called Mary. Murphy and Mary became very close, and it was decided that they would one day be married. As the day of their marriage got near, disaster struck. The pod had been busy getting ready, herding schools of fish together for the wedding feast. Everything was prepared when suddenly all the carefully herded fish broke loose in every direction. Murphy rose up the water and saw 3 large ships with strange animals on deck, all making a lot of noise and throwing nets into this water. Scared, drove back into the water to try and find his family and Mary. It didn't take him long to find Mary, but she was caught in one of the strange animal nets. Murphy tried his best to free her, pulling at the net and biting it, but nothing helped. He watched helplessly as the net began to rise and Mary was pulled right out of the water and onto the boat. Most of Murphy's family escaped, but the large boat pulled 5 of the pod onto the deck. Murphy's dad tried to break the net a few times, but the strange animals shot a huge metal arrow through him, and he stopped moving after a while. As the boats began to leave Murphy's his mum safe with his sisters and brother, telling her to go back with the family. Then Murphy began to follow the ships. For months and months, Murphy followed the large boats until the warm waters grew colder and the day grew shorter. His trail had taken him to Scotland. This was further than any of his family had even been, and he hoped that once again to see his true love, which kept him going. As the ships docked at a town called Dundee, Murphy watched as the bodies of his friends and Mary were pulled from the boat. All hope left Murphy at that point, and he could feel was anger. He swam as deep as he could into the water before turning and speeding towards the closest boat. As he crashed into the boat, it broke free and the water started to flood before it began to sink. As Murphy went to attack the second boat, he was stopped by a pain in his side, and looking, he saw one of those things that killed his father. It had hit his side. Murphy shook it off, but he was bleeding badly. Knowing it was too late to save his friends and Mary, Murphy swam away from the boat, and later, as he was getting weaker and drifting peacefully, he once again saw his true love.